welcome to Legal Affairs. My name is Diamond Liddy, and I'm the public defender for the 19th Judicial Circuit. We are going to be talking about something wonderful today that is near and dear to so many people's hearts, and we have with us, and we are blessed to have with us, Nicole Hughes. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
And you are with the Guardian Ad Litem program. And I'm sure many of the viewers have heard of the Guardian Ad Litem program, and we're going to be talking about you here in a minute. But before we do that, tell me, what is the Guardian Ad Litem program?
Right, and that is a question that a lot of our community has, because Guardian Ad Litem is just kind of a mouthful, right?
Right.
So we've been around for about 37 years, and for about 37 years we've been advocates for children in foster care in the dependency system. So,
okay, and let me stop you right there. You've been around 37 years in the country, in Florida, in our area?
United States.
Okay.
So, yes,
Okay.
people might have heard of CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocate.
Okay.
We are pretty much the same. As soon as you come down into Florida, we're called the Guardian Ad Litem program.
And you mentioned that you are an advocate for children who are in the foster care system and regarding dependency court. Explain what that is, because I know and you know what dependency, the dependency court system is, but what is that?
Right, so it's where, unfortunately, our children come into care because of abuse, neglect, or abandonment.
Right.
The Department of Children and Family has to get involved because of abuse reports. Usually they're phone calls. We have the 1-800-96-ABUSE hotline in Florida, and many people don't know that everyone in Florida is a mandated reporter. So if there is abuse, neglect, or abandonment, they do call that hotline, and that Department of Children and Family are able to send out investigators to, assess the situation. Sometimes our kids are in unsafe situations where they do have to be removed from their home, and that's where they ask us to come on board as a legal party to that case, and the Guardian Ad Litem then sets up a team, including the advocate, and then we of course go to court for the best interests of that child.
Okay, and I really I think it's important that everyone understands what your role is as far as the best interest of the child, because I think that can get confusing. Nicole, would you say you are the advocate for the child, and whatever the child wants, you're going to advocate for? Or are you an advocate for the child, the best interest of the child, regardless of what the child wants? I think that's an important distinction.
It is, and it's a hard one sometimes. It's always in the best interest of what the child needs and what's best for them in their situation. The child might want a lot of things, and we always vocalize that to the judge, and we share their thoughts and feelings and things like that. But as a team, we want what's in the best interest of the child today and for the next 10 to 15 to 20 years of their life, depending on their age.
Okay, so it could very likely not be a reunification, let's say, with the parents at that time, because you and your team does not feel that would be in their best interest. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
Right, absolutely. And those are, tough situations, but that's why we do it in a team, and that's why we advocate for those things. Most of our children always want to go home because that's home. That's what they're used to. That's what they've known, even though it might include abuse, neglect, or abandonment.
Right. That's where they wanted.
Right. And while the parents are working on getting kind of, their ducks in order and things figured out, if they're able to, then we are so happy to see reunification happen. But sometimes they're not able to or not willing to conquer those things that they need to do in order to get their children back. And that's when sometimes the children or the teens don't always understand that they can't go home to an unsafe situation where they won't be taken care of or they won't be provided for, and that's hard.
Well, and that that's on a sliding scale, if you will, correct? I mean,
Absolutely.
You may have one court appearance where the guardian is saying, Judge, at this time, I don't think reunification is appropriate. However, 6 months from then, if the parents are doing great and have a job and aren't drinking and doing whatever, your recommendation could change, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to court for each child, and we have, I mean, it changes every day, but on average about 1,000 children on the Treasure Coast in Okeechobee. But we could go to court minimally 2 times a year, all the way up to 7+ times a year, depending on what's going on in their case and their situation.
Right. And I've got a lot more questions about that, but let's go back for a moment. We got ahead of ourselves. Tell us about you, Nicole. How long have you been with Guardian Ad Litem? Where did you come from? What did you do before? What's your actual title right now? And everything?
Absolutely. I would love to share that. I've been with the Guardian Ad Litem program for almost about 5 years now, and don't tell my other jobs, but this has been my absolute favorite career position. Before that, I was working in group homes, which I really enjoyed, but those are tough.
Well, tell us what a group home is.
A group home is when, unfortunately, we do not have enough foster families, foster parents out there, or caregivers to take care of our kids. So then we need to put them in, for lack of better words, a unit, a building where there could be 30 kids under a building where they're, the staff there are taking them to school, making sure their homework is getting done, kind of like a big home, but for more than, for about 30 kids, give or take, which we all know our group homes do great jobs, but that's not a home. Yeah. And we hopefully want to get the kids in the group homes into foster homes and then eventually home. But that's kind of a tough situation. Because essentially, once I was working, I was parent, right? I was the all-day parent or the night parent or the morning parent or whatever that might be. And before that, I did therapy and counseling with mental health and things like that, from children, adults, teenagers, things like that as well.
So you're well equipped to do this job. That is great.
I feel like we're always learning, which we are. You never stop learning. You never stop. Each day is different than the next. But I know that those past positions have definitely helped me to advocate correctly for our kiddos in care now.
I'm just curious, and I should know the answer to this, maybe not, but how many group homes are there in the 19th Circuit on the Treasure Coast?
In the Treasure Coast in Okeechobee, we have about 5. There's usually one in every county or so, and I think, I should know this answer too, right? But I think we have one extra in one of the counties. So on average, we have about 5.
So they sleep there, they eat there?
Oh, it's everything that you would do if you lived at, your own house. Or, you sleep there, you eat there, you bathe, all 3 meals, snacks, homework, playing. They do field trips to, museums or different fun things, playgrounds, things like that.
It's... Are you allowed to leave? I mean, is it like a jail? Is it, No.
We do have, our children leave the group homes for all different sorts of reasons. They could have visitation with their family or their siblings. They could have something to do for school, a field trip or something along those lines. Some of our kids are in extracurricular activities, so they come and go for that. But some of our Guardian Ad Litems are able to go and take the kids out of the group home to go for ice cream or a movie or go to the beach or something like that as well. So they are, it's not a lockdown facility or anything like that. They're able to kind of come and go as long as it's a safe opportunity, and there's always an adult and things like that.
Because they're in there not because they broke the law, but because their parents aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Right. Our kids unfortunately come into care because of no fault of their own.
Yeah.
This is not, we have amazing, wonderful, wonderful kids. Our kids range from 0 to 18, and they are absolutely amazing. But unfortunately, they are where they are because of nothing that they did.
So a group home could actually house an infant as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow,
Absolutely.
I did not know that.
Yeah, we need a safe place for our infants, as much as our 10-year-olds, as much as our 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds and things like that. Yeah.
Well, and the alternative to a group home is a foster family, and I think we're all kind of familiar with what that is. But it's a actual family that takes in 1, 2, 3, 4 children into their home.
Absolutely.
Home. Okay.
Yeah, to do life with them.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And God, there's so many questions, but if someone, because I hope today's show brings, money to Guardian Ad Litem, the program, guardian people who want to volunteer as guardians, and I want to flesh that out here in a minute, and hopefully we can get some viewers that want to be a foster family as well. Tell me how if someone's watching and says, John, we should do that. That would be a good thing for us to do for abused and neglected children. Tell me how someone qualifies, how they sign up. What I certainly, you just don't call and say, we'll take some kids in, we'll send them up.
right.
Okay.
No, I'll actually tell you how to get involved and then what our volunteers actually do, because I think that's a big question of like, okay, what, as an advocate, what do you actually do, right? Besides go to court. So how, I always tell people, if you love children and you can pass a background check, you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what the requirements are. You fill out an application, you come in to meet with me. I sit down just like this. It is a very fun, friendly interview process where I get to know you and see your strengths and your goals and kind of what you're looking for in your volunteer opportunity. And then I'm able to sit down and say, all right, this is a great opportunity. What you're looking for matches what we are. And then we're able to move forward with training. Anyone who comes in, of course, they're not going to feel like they're ready for court tomorrow or to take on a couple kids the next day, right? So we're always able to provide, we provide a 2-day training.
That's what I was going to ask too. How long is the training? There has to be training.
Oh yeah. We give you independent training, which is about 3 hours or so. And you do that on your own. It's online. There's videos and PowerPoints, and that's kind of so that a person can do it at their own speed. And then we do a 2-day training that's 8 to 5, where we sit down and we have all kinds of trainers come in and talk about what is abuse, what is trauma, what is going to court like, what are my reports like, is this bigger than I thought it was going to be, or am I getting this information and am I going to be successful with this?
And let me stop you and say, the Guardian Ad Litem, if you sign up for this, it's not a paid position, it's a volunteer position, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we do. We have 365 volunteers and climbing to
and
care
you need
for.
More, right?
Oh yeah, because we have over 1,000 children. So I'm so thankful for my volunteers. But it's really, when we have that many children, we always need more. We definitely need more. I have a whole bunch of kids that are waiting for a Guardian Ad Litem. But once we're able to train them, we do give them a support team.
What you talked about, the team going to court and making recommendations. What does that team consist of? Right.
So we know a lot of times that in this world, it's so much better together, right? When we're doing things together and we're partnering and we're communicating and we're supporting each other and encouraging each other, we succeed. So that's why we set our program up the way that it is. So when a person comes in and they go through training and they're ready to take on their first child or children, we're able to give them a team that consists of an attorney, a Guardian Ad Litem attorney that's housed and paid with our program. And then we also give them a child advocate manager, where that is the supervisor they can run to for questions, comments, concerns, meetings. meetings, thoughts. I wanted to process this. I want to talk about it. You know, anything that might come up.
Now, is that position paid?
Yes.
Yes. They are under your umbrella then.
Yes, we do have 30 employees that that work. We always say, like, we work for our volunteers. We work for our kids. We are a state program, but we work for our volunteers and our kids so that they're successful. And so that we're ultimately, our kids are, you know, get what they need. So our volunteers come in and they have that attorney, they have that child advocate manager. In the beginning, we give them a mentor. That mentor is actually able to help them go to their first visit with their child, because that can be scary, right? You figure, oh, they're just kids, but then, you know, you walk out and say, did I do that right? Did I say that right? Was that what it was supposed to be? Like, what's going on, right? So so we're able to say, here's an adult that has done this for many, many years. Let's debrief. Let's talk about this. Let's process this, right? So then that mentor is able to help be a part of that team in the beginning. We also send our new volunteers to court to have them just observe court. Let's sit down for 2-3 hours and just observe court. Where do I sit? Where do I stand? What does that look like? Who talks to me, right? What do I say? What is the typical conversation that we're doing? So it's really encouraging to our new volunteers when they're kind of, I always say, you're going to be hit with all these team members, the right and left. You're going to be supported and you're going to be encouraged along the way. And then we usually tell those volunteers, be prepared to be with us about a 1.5 to 2 years, because like we said in the beginning, we don't want to give these parents 2 months and then say, well, it didn't work out, so we're terminating, you know, the judge is going to terminate parental rights. No. Our parents, you know, a lot of times they get a stigma of they're bad people, right? They're scary, they're bad people. They're not bad people. A lot of our parents out there, our biological parents where our kids come from, you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know till you're taught and you're educated and you're shown and you're made aware and you're going through all kinds of classes to be
just
able.
You know, you know, I had a friend that used to say, you know, you should have a license to have a child. You should have to go through parenting classes. You should have to, you know, I mean, and we laugh and we scoff at that, but I mean, think about it. How many people, I know myself, I was ill prepared to be a parent. I mean, at first, I didn't know what I was doing. I had never been around small children. I had never, I was an only child, did not come from a large family. I was ignorant. And, you know, certainly, you know, I knew you don't hit the baby in the head or, you know, whatever. But, you know, they're just, so much of this is just pure, you know, unintentional ignorance that is not the parents' fault either. And some of it is, and they should be punished and all of that. But anyway, so I digressed a moment, but
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, and that's exactly true, and that's why we keep them a 1.5 to 2 years. You know, kind of allotting that time for everything to kind of, the dust to fall, things to settle, you know, parents to kind of get back on board and get where they're supposed to be. But that's what I tell our volunteers to be prepared for and be aware of.
For each case to last at least that long. And sometimes more.
And for consistency, we keep that volunteer with that child for the whole 1.5 to 2 years.
Let me, gosh, there's so many things to talk about. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think if someone out there is listening and watching and is thinking about this, let's talk for a moment about how important it is that there isn't 4 guardian ad litems during the course of the case, and how if you sign up for this, be prepared. You're going to do it for years. Hopefully.
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Yeah, because, but I mean, you have guardians that have been with you 10 years, 15 years, right? Yeah. But what I'm saying is that you can't plan on, well, I'll try it for 6 months, and if it's not what I want, I'll just, because that is as devastating to the child as what they've already been through, correct?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
you establish a relationship with your guardian ad litem, and they're your friend, and you're the person that takes you for ice cream or whatever, and all of a sudden they're gone, and they've got Joe Blotz in that's brand new. That's an issue.
Right, and when you look at a child's life, so you're dealing with they've just been pulled away from parents, siblings, sometimes animals, like sometimes dogs and cats are very important. You know, most of the time are very important. So you figure that's just been removed, right? They've lost their school. They've gotten a new teacher, and then that teacher changes. And then they go to the doctor, and maybe they get a new doctor next time. And then they go to court sometimes, and there's different case managers, and there's different judges, and there's different case workers and things like that. And then they go to their medical appointments, or they go to a therapy appointment, and sometimes there's a new therapist. And then, you know, through that whole process, they're learning not to get attached,
right?
Not to rely on people, not to listen, or eventually this person's not going to be there.
Right.
But as I stick with my child or my children, like I am an employee, I'm the volunteer, the recruiter. But I'm also a volunteer. So like my personal case right now, I go out and see those kids, and I've been with them for about a year and a half, a little bit more. But they know I'm going to show up every single month. There's no one, you know, even if someone's like, oh, I'll go, you know, oh, you know, you're having a busy week, I'll go. No. I will go because they know me. They trust me.
Right.
We've gone out to the movies and dinner and gone out to ice cream and things like that. They know when Miss Nicole shows up, that's consistency.
Yeah.
You can trust me. You can rely on me. And that's not, you know, what, like I just mentioned before with those examples, that's not always the case just by default of kind of what life brings.
Right, right. Now, if let's talk briefly about if you want to be a foster home.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot more rigorous and a lot more, I guess the application process is much more detailed, or no?
It's more training, but a lot of times, a lot of the information, a lot of the training kind of goes hand in hand. I'm also a foster parent. Now I'm an adoptive parent as well. So when we went through training, we of course filled out the application. We did 3 Saturdays of training. Then you kind of get your support team with that program as well.
Wow.
And then you start to do a background check and licensing. So it's going to take, I would say, a month or 2, maybe a little bit more to be safe, depending on, because they do home studies, so they're able to go into the homes, which is good. It's safe, right? It's make sure that that home is safe. There's certain requirements, different kind of locks on the doors, different kind of things in the house that makes for a safe environment at all costs.
Now, a foster parent, and then we've got like about 5 minutes. I told you it would go fast.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to talk about some of your special things so everyone knows. But real quick, now a foster parent would get paid by the state for housing the child.
It's usually a stipend.
Yeah,
so paid is a big word.
Yeah.
And I think
I know it's not that much.
That's one of our myths too. It's basically enough to help with feeding the child.
Okay.
And sometimes help with getting some clothes for the child, because our kids come into care. Sometimes they're in a diaper, and that's it. And sometimes it's a big T-shirt with small shoes, you know, and it's like they need you know, those items like in 5 minutes or tomorrow or whatever it might be. So there's options where the state is able to help you out and provide some of those needs, where here's a little extra money to help, you know, feed a child or clothe a child or things like that, where that's the help that somebody might need in order to take on another child, which is great, because if that wasn't available, then they might not be able to take on that child. So it's hugely, really, you know, good.
And obviously, in your situation, although we never, you know, we don't hope for a termination of parental rights and a child to be, you know, what is the word when they terminate a ward of the state, or what when they terminate parental rights, then they place them with someone, right?
Well, they usually stay in their placement.
Okay.
Because as they're, as we're going through this 1.5 to 2 years, they might be at the group home, they might be at a foster home.
But the potential for adoption, that was what I wanted to say.
Yes.
As in your case, I guess you had a foster child and then were able at some point to adopt the child.
And that often happens.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't, and there's families that are out there that are just adoptive parents, and those families are just as amazing. But you're right, we never hope for a termination of parental rights. We want our kids to be able to be home successfully and go to their birth family and have a very great, successful life, but sometimes that doesn't always happen.
Okay, so with just the few minutes we got left, you got a bell there, Nicole. What is that for? Tell us.
So I'm going to ring the bell today.
Okay.
This is one of our Christmas celebrations. So we're going around to, I would encourage you, if you're watching, definitely go check out our Facebook. Every single day we're having a countdown, the 25 days of Christmas. We're going out to organizations and programs and businesses and having them ring the bell for, it's called TC Rings, so the Treasure Coast Rings. For children that are available for adoption and want to be adopted. So when you watch that video, you'll see someone ringing the bell. They'll read what that wish is for that child. So it shares a little bit about, Johnny wants a family that wants to play basketball and wants to have family dinner every night and wants them to, come support him at school. Can you make this wish for Johnny come true? And those are real kids in real time that want real families. So I would encourage you to go out and check those out and look at those videos.
How do they see the videos on Facebook?
On my Facebook, it's the Guardian Ad Litem program. And then it says our counties, which are St. Lucie County, Okeechobee County, Martin, and Indian River.
Right.
And then if they can't find it, they can always reach out to me. My information's right at the bottom of the screen. Call me and I'll explain everything to you.
And how many children do you have on the Ring the Bell list?
We have, some of them are sibling groups, but we do have about 25 right now because we're doing a countdown for Christmas, and that's just 25. We have so many more out there that desperately need homes. They're looking for homes. They're waiting for homes. So I would encourage you, especially if you're watching out there, just ask questions, right? The worst that you can say is no, right? But we need to be educated on the children that are out there, the children that need homes, that they want homes, and then, of course, the family can then make the decision from there. But
do they get to interview the child or get to?
It's probably not like an interview, but they do get to know about the child for sure.
Right.
Just the basic information, and then if they're, of course, they can move forward from there, and then eventually, meet the child and things like that. So it's, it's
so
definitely a need.
Have you been successful so far? You had a countdown.
Well, today's day 4.
Okay, so what about the 4 have you got?
We've gotten about one phone call for one of the kiddos. So super exciting. It's absolutely amazing. We're very excited. So we're
and that's
really
a big
hoping.
deal. Is that a good percentage? Okay.
Yeah. Anytime I get phone calls about kids getting homes or getting reunited or getting adopted, I'm like, that's my thing. That's my jam. I love that. I love it.
Oh, that's great.
But if you're not able to adopt or foster or be a volunteer, we always need gifts as well. For the holiday, Christmas is coming up. Hanukkah is coming up, things like that. And we're also collecting new unwrapped toys at the Guardian Ad Litem program, and we're right across from the Met Stadium.
Okay, and give us a phone number because we're 3 seconds out of time.
All right, and it's right on the bottom of the screen as well. But you can also call 772-785-5804 and check out our website, www.guardian19.org.
And Nicole, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays too.